What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Standing Room Only podcast, episode number 39 with Goose. And we do have a special guest with us this week, Tyson Miller in the Chicago Cubs organization. You can follow us on social media at SR Only Pod. And if you guys do enjoy the podcast, make sure you download. It's the best way to show support. And it's the only way we could see how many people it's a way to count how many listeners we get about every week. It doesn't give us listens. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure you do that and give us a download. So we have Tyson joining us this week with the Chicago Cubs organization. Before we start, where can people follow you on social media?
Instagram is Tyson_Miller15 and Twitter, I believe, is Tyson_Miller07. If it's not that, then it's probably 22, but it's one of those.
All right.
Yeah, I think we actually tagged you in a post earlier on Twitter. I can confirm it's 07 at the end of that. So
Okay, just making sure.
07 on Twitter, 15 on Instagram.
Yep.
So appreciate you stopping by. This is our first guest on the podcast, so appreciate you taking your time out to talk sports with us today.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
We want to start out by talking about you, so people can learn more about you and your experiences on and off the field. This is your 6th year professional ball. This year technically won't count on Baseball Reference unless you make an appearance in the majors, but 6th year. Oh wait, my bad. That was the college stats. This is
I
since
believe it's
2016.
5th.
Yes, 2015. My bad. I was looking at Baseball Reference, and they sometimes get college stats mixed in between there, so I took 2014. But yeah, 5th year. What's it been like? 5 years.
It's been, eye-opening, really. Just the difference from going from D2 college to professional baseball, and then each level you get promoted to or move to each year. It's just night and day, kind of going from Arizona League to Rookie League in Eugene, Oregon, to low A, then high A, double A. I was in last year, got promoted halfway through to triple A, and then that sucked. And but yeah, other than that, it's just adapting to realizing that everyone's good at baseball, and there's going to be guys that should be in the big leagues that you're facing, so that helps in the lower levels.
Yeah. You're just a hair off of the majors, Triple A, the closest you can get to that. You are currently with the 60-man squad in South Bend. What has that been like this year compared to previous years where you have like a season going on?
The biggest difference is you are just playing scrimmages and inter squads with your own guys, so you're just facing the same hitters over and over, practicing instead of the long bus rides, the flights, playing other guys, other teams, other organizations. So it's a little different, but we're making the most out of it. Just waiting for that phone call.
So you hope that you never have to face, or yeah, you hope you rarely have to face the people you're facing now in the future, because these guys are going to know you like the back of their hands.
Oh yeah, the position players especially. There's probably like 8 of them total, and there's 15 something pitchers. So it's just a lot of 3 innings or so of inter squads, and position players are getting 7 at bats at a time, give or take.
And then, yeah, if you do get the call up, you're in South Bend, short drive. Your buddy Justin Steele has had that experience so far. Didn't get a pitch, unfortunately, but they do have, or the alternate squads close by in case they need to be called up. Has there been anyone in the minors that you've had like good battles with and that like you remember?
Coming up, I remember my first full season was here in South Bend, Indiana, and basically once a week I got to face Vladdy Jr., Boba Jr., or Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh
Wow.
my.
That's a
Yeah,
list.
along with like Josh Lowe, Brandon Lowe, Lucius Fox. Who else was in this league? Dustin May. He was in this league when I was here. So I mean, seeing some of the guys moving up with them and going through the minor leagues in the process and then seeing where they're at right now is pretty cool. Just wait for that to happen for me. And then recently facing Gavin Lux was not fun in AAA. I think he hit like 600 for a month or so. So that was really fun. But yeah.
He's a beast. There must have been like a lot of people attending those Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette games. They had
Oh,
the
it
hype.
was unreal.
They had the
Yeah,
hype since the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, 18 and 19 years old.
Oh my.
Yeah, I
So
think
who's
Bo
been?
Bichette. I think
Mhm.
Bo Bichette Jr. before he was promoted, he was 1 hit away from hitting 400 in the first half. He was 399. In the 70 games, he had like 101 hits.
Wow.
It was a walking base hit, walking barrel with those two batting 2 and 3.
And
That's
so
why
I assume it's still it's 162 games in minors, right? There's no differential between that and the majors.
Minors, it's 140.
140. Okay. Okay.
yeah. They normally end around September. That's why you get
Yeah,
all the
it's usually
call
like
ups.
Mhm.
second or third of September is usually like the last day, unless you make playoffs and then go from there.
Have you pitched against big league guys in spring training before?
Yeah. So I've thrown this last spring training and big league camp. I threw against like Kipnis, Bodie, Almora. I threw against Nico Horner, Descalso, and I think that's it for guys that were there. The guys that are in Chicago right now. Some of the other guys I faced are here right now, so get to face them 20 more times.
Going back to I forgot about this. Going back to the minor league stuff, I saw a little interaction with you and Jazz Chisholm. He said that you were his like toughest opponent to face.
Yeah, we kind of I think it was just this last year was the first time that we played against each other consistently. He was in Jackson with the Diamondbacks at the time, and I was in Tennessee, and I feel like every time he saw me pitching, he was not having fun because I like to throw in on him and just try and break his bat every time. He likes the ball in, so it was just strength against strength kind of thing. And yeah, I think that's one of the guys like I actually had his number this year, and there was a couple guys where I just couldn't get out.
Yeah, super cool dude. I got to talk to him in a video before he plays MLB The Show as well. If you guys are listening, Tyson, big MLB The Show fan. I did make a video. I recorded a game against him on my YouTube channel, Healy 6. He also does have his real 99 card in MLB The Show. So if you guys come up against someone that has the real Tyson Miller card pitching, you are facing him.
Yeah,
Zemo,
I'll throw him sometimes. There's a if a guy that I'm facing is like a Cubs themed team, I'll throw my guy for like 1 inning in like the sixth or something just to see if he tries and messages me or something. But yeah, for the most part, if you go watch Healy's YouTube video against me, just stop after the seventh. The game ends. We only played 7.
So I have to be the one to ask for everybody listening and watching. So who ended up winning that game if he had to call it early?
You know, we only play 7 in friendlies. I didn't know we played 9, and no, he won. I choked in the end. I was a rookie manager mistake, taking out my pitcher when I didn't need to, and that led to the comeback.
hey, you guys are gonna have to watch it on the YouTube channel if you want to see the game. But yeah, it's really only good up until the 7th inning. After that, it's just you don't have to watch. Have to.
You know, just watch the first inning. I think the first inning is all you really need to see.
So playing MLB The Show, you're a gamer. Is MLB like your main game?
Yeah, that's the only reason why I got a PS4 over an Xbox after the draft. That was like my first big purchase other than my Honda Civic. But yeah, I got PS4 because I wanted to play the show because that was one of my favorite games growing up when I did have a PlayStation. And then other than that, I've been playing Warzone whenever I can with my buddies, but it's pretty much just those two games.
Dustin over here is a big NBA 2K guy. He does not have a PlayStation right now. Next year, though, hopefully, if it goes on the Xbox or whatever, or just like Halo's not even on Xbox start off this year, you might as well just buy a PlayStation. It's obviously the better move than an Xbox for the next gen.
For the longest time, I was leaning towards, especially since we started talking more. Obviously, I met Healy years ago, working together with him. And, he was always big on MLB The Show. We always talked baseball at work, and he always tried to convince me to get the PlayStation. But just having the Xbox 360, then the Xbox One, and, there wasn't, anything, there was nothing cross compatible as far as playing somebody else. And that might be the future of gaming with MLB The Show. We don't know. But then, the whole next gen console, the PS5, the Xbox One X, they announced that. So I was like, I'm not going to drop money on a console when I might as well just get the PS5 when that comes out at the end of the year. But the only reason, same as you, Tyson, the only reason why I would even get the PlayStation is for MLB The Show. Because that's what we had. But, growing up we used to have MVP baseball. We used to have, EA Sports was making a baseball game for a while.
That was MVP. 2K.
That was MVP. Okay. And then 2K. Yeah. So, yeah, as soon as Sony.
Did he cut out?
I do pretty well on that. So that's kind of my forte is basketball and 2K. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll pick up MLB The Show and get the PlayStation. Well, it's supposed to be on Xbox coming out next season, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's supposed to be. Well, we don't know when it will be on everything. They did sign an agreement earlier in the year that it is going to be on multiple platforms, but it's still probably going to be console versus console for gameplay wise. So, like I said, you might as well. You got to get one of the next gen as well. So you might as well just get the PlayStation.
Yeah, fair enough. You know what, Healy, you're a natural in sales, but I especially with like Modern Warfare is already cross compatible, so I might as well. We still have access to that plus 2K plus. I don't really play Madden anymore. Madden's kind of like you play one, you play them all. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna jump on board with that. That's I think the holidays, so that's right around the corner.
Tyson, if there was one legend you could have in MLB The Show, who would it be?
One legend.
Yes.
Shoot. I mean, for my personal preference, and I would just love using him, would be one of the Cy Young Tim Lincecums for
Ooh.
pitcher.
Ooh.
And then for hitter, I kind of got excited for the A-Rod, the young A-Rod. I don't
A-Rod
know.
would be awesome.
I feel like that would replace Jimmy at shortstop, or he could play third base if I needed him. But yeah, I would probably go A-Rod.
That's a good pick.
Tim
like
Lincecum, A-Rod. For people listening, MLB The Show has a long list of legends already in the game. A-Rod and Tim Lincecum aren't in the game at the moment. Speaking of Tim Lincecum, wanted to ask this. What was he like the guy? You're a pitcher. Was he like the guy growing up that you were like, I want to be like him?
Not like be like him. Like his delivery was different and everything, but just watching him was very entertaining for me, being a young Giants fan. Him and Matt Cain were fun to watch. Brian Wilson with his beard closing out games was fun. Sergio Romo in his prime, but yeah, I would say some of the stuff like I learned a changeup because I saw how good he was with it, with his changeup. Lincecum was, so I was like, I need to be able to throw this in high school because I didn't really throw hard, but I could make stuff move.
There's a guy I saw on Twitter, and he's a young guy. He just started pitching. And Pitching Ninja put him side by side with Max Scherzer, and their motions were exact. They were completely identical. And they're just like, I wonder who this guy's favorite player was growing up. So I didn't
That's
know if
crazy because
there's.
his mechanics are kind of hard to copy,
Yeah, he
I
has
would
a
say.
lot of hitches in it, which throws a lot of people off if you can get it
Hmm.
well. Johnny Cueto's a good one with that. He's been fooling a lot of people this year.
Oh yeah, he's always hard to time up, especially with his antics.
Now, something I don't necessarily know, like with his pausing and stuff, is that only when guys are like not on base that's like completely legal? Like if there's someone on
Yeah,
base, could
that's
he like hesitate or no?
no. I mean, uh
I
I mean,
think
he can have the high like leg kick and load. I just don't think he could like move around like he does in his windup because there's no one on base.
Okay. That makes
For that,
sense.
he would have to do it like every time, kind of
All
out
right.
of the stretch. It's like everything's a balk. If you don't consistently do that, then they'll call it.
All right. Yeah, I was like seeing stuff and I didn't know about that for sure. And like sticking with the motions, one of the biggest things or like yeah, one of the biggest things a pitcher needs is to complete or make sure their motion is identical every single time so that they don't tip if they're throwing a breaking ball, fastball, any pitch. Was that like is that super difficult to do? Like, have you had problems with that in the past and like you corrected it over time? Or is it pretty, you have like a natural arm slot for every pitch?
I mean, it's very important to. I mean, one of the guys in our organization that they base arm slot off of is John Lester because everything is out of the same arm slot. That's why he's still so hard to hit, even though he doesn't throw hard. But yeah, if you have a guy that can throw hard, but he like drops his arm on a slider or his arm slot on anything, like the hitters are good enough they can identify that before even getting into the game, just from footage. Everything video wise, everything game time decisions, game adjustments, you can pick stuff up if a pitcher's tipping his pitches.
Yeah. And we saw last year, I can't remember. It was definitely the Rays. I can't remember who they were playing. I think it was the Astros.
Glasnow.
Yeah, Glasnow. Whenever he threw
Hmm.
like an off speed, he held his glove just a tad lower than when he was throwing a fastball.
Yeah, I this offseason he was in Arizona. We were at the same gym, so he was my throwing partner for a bit. I didn't really bring that up because I figured that's a touchy subject, but
Yeah.
watching him throw a bullpen, just an easy 98, 99. In the bullpens, he was like 95, but still, it was just impressive to watch, especially with his curveball and everything.
What's the highest you can hit right now?
Right now, I think in my last sim game, I hit a 94.8, so that's a pitcher's 95.
Okay. Okay. When
But yeah, I mean, the hardest I've ever thrown was 2 years ago in Myrtle. I think I hit 96 three times, but that's
nice.
back when I was throwing a different fastball and blah blah blah.
was that the you were throwing a two seam fastball before?
Yeah, it was just a different type of pitch going away from
Mhm.
why I was drafted, and the
Okay.
velo was down. We were working on other stuff, but now we're starting to figure everything back out.
Okay.
Nice. Towards the end of like high school, what were you hitting?
I mean, high school going into college, I was like 86 to 89, maybe touched 90 a few times. It wasn't until I took the summer off after my freshman year of college. I was maybe a $170, $175,
Mm-hmm.
and then came back my sophomore year at like 190. So I just took the whole summer off, tried to gain weight, was working out a lot, and then started like hitting 90, 91 more consistent, and then just kept going up from there.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
like,
it's big for guys when they're younger, just like take a summer off because I was after my freshman year, that was my first summer off and no summer ball, especially in California. It's huge.
mm-hmm.
There was no summer ball or anything since I started playing baseball. Every summer was filled with baseball.
Yeah, baseball all year round, starting from the age of like 9 or 10. So you're throwing like
Yep, travel
80,
ball.
86, 88 in a high school. Got it up to 95-ish now. What's the like if someone was to try and focus on improving their velocity, what are a few tips that they could do to get there?
Everyone's different. Every arm is different. Like some guys use the weighted ball programs, and that helps them. Sometimes it doesn't help others. Main part I would say is just long toss. Kids got to long toss more, build that strength and arm speed for sure. A lot of it is arm speed, and then just good mechanics with using your hips and lower half to drive towards home plate, and then the arm will catch up.
Was it you that I was talking to about a stout mount or whatever that was throwing
Hmm.
long toss the next day?
Yeah, so he was at Azusa Pacific, which was our rivals, and one of the games he threw like eight innings, 1 run, like 100 some pitches, 14 strikeouts, just absurd.
Wow.
And then the next day it was like foul pole to foul pole, foul pole to foul pole playing catch, and I just thought my arm was gonna fall off from watching it.
For the people who don't know who we're talking about Josh Stamont. He is
Stamont.
Stamont. He's with Kansas City right now. If you have a chance to watch him throw, I would really recommend doing so. Bright future. He hits 100 on the gun, and he throws like an 82-mile-per-hour curveball, and he throws dots.
Oh, yeah, he's gross. I think he hit like 103 in one of his bullpens during the quarantine.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Yeah, just electric noodle arm.
Well, yeah, they have a bright future with him in their pen because yeah, he is dotting people up for.
Yeah, he made us look silly when we were playing him.
Yeah, I think the Cubs were winning at that point, but he just came in to stop the bleeding. But yeah, transition over to the Cubs, 5-2 lead right now. They had a few days off, and they're continuing their hot streak. They did win, it was 5 or 6 in a row before they did lose to Kansas City in the last day. They unfortunately did not play against St. Louis over the weekend. Their break, I thought, was going to slow them down a little bit, especially going up against Cleveland and their hot pitching right now. But they've came back. They've won yesterday. They have a good spot right now. We'll have to see how the game closes out. Yeah, and they have 11 wins on the year. I think that's the best in baseball.
I believe so, or at least winning percentage is the best, I think.
Yeah, they're 11-3, 786 winning percentage. The run differentials plus 13. That's one of the highest. Next to randomly Atlanta. Atlanta must have won a game by like a lot to have plus 19, and they're only 11-8.
They won.
Yeah, they beat the Mets like 16 to something
Yeah.
the other day, I think.
Yeah. They destroyed the Mets the
It
other
was
day.
it was hard to watch.
Let's say my math isn't that great, but I know that a win-loss column to have that is actually it's pretty good. Yeah, the Cubs have been playing really good ball. I would say better than I thought, even though I predicted them to take at least a wild card spot this year. They're playing better ball than the Southsiders. Obviously, there's a lot going on with that very, very young team. So Tyson, if you don't know, you're in a room with a Cubs fan, you're in a room with a Sox fan. For those who aren't watching this on YouTube, Healy is the Cubs fan, I'm the Sox fan, but I'm very unbiased when it comes to sports. I appreciate all Chicago teams, but definitely the Cubs, their pitching has been great. Their bats have been stepping it up. Ian Happ is having a pretty good year as well. He's definitely one of their best hitters right now. We saw today Rizzo and Chris Bryant actually both go yard today. So I have to tip my hat to the Cubs. They've been a hot team, and I know it's only a 60-game season, so every game counts. Every game it should have that playoff type feel. Just hopefully everybody stays healthy. I think that's the biggest concern, obviously, with the Cardinals, the Marlins, for the season to end up finishing. And otherwise, there's going to be a lot of double headers, and that's going to wear a lot of guys down. Pitchers especially. I mean, you can only throw so many pitches, and these guys have a 5-man rotation. I don't know how many teams have a 4-man rotation right now, but
it seems like there's a lot, or there's a decent amount of teams that have been doing openers or long relievers to start off. Also 7-inning double headers, so it's not too bad. It'll just get bad if games get blown out, but I think teams would leave their starters in for a little bit.
And with the games going with the extra inning rule, with the runner starting on second base, I wasn't a fan of the idea, but I kind of like it to help close games out a little bit quicker. I just don't want them to adapt that like next season. They can throw that off the shelf. But Healy or even Tyson, who's for you right now? Who's the most surprising team in the MLB?
I mean, you gotta just throw it at the Marlins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Marlins, the slow start that they had, being like 2-1, couldn't play for I think it was like a week or so, basically, and then come back. I think they're 6-2, something like that.
Yeah, and they're winning 11-6 right now.
They're
Buffalo.
playing well. The Orioles are playing better than we expected. Tigers are the same.
Yep.
I don't know. This was just a throw up out there for people betting on baseball of why not with 60 games, who knows what can happen kind of thing.
Everyone's going balls to the wall, and after the first weekend, it was the first time since 1950 where a team didn't start off 3-0 or undefeated. Every team is winning games. Every game is a battle. Teams are coming out to play. They know how short the season is, especially with the expanded playoffs. A lot more teams are going to get in. But yeah, the Cubs, St. Louis has only played 5 games, which looking at it, it didn't seem like they've only played 5 games. It feels like we are already 30 games into the season. It just doesn't seem like that.
I think we just went so long without games that you play 5 days in a row, it seems like you've played 20 games.
Yeah. There's no breaks for anyone. And something good that I've somewhat noticed, I don't know if it's just a coincidence or it just seems like it's not as bad. There hasn't seemed to have been too many injuries this year.
No, nothing too bad so far. I think they're a little more hesitant with some pitchers, I guess. It's a good thing you can bring up more pitchers or have the taxi squad if you need it for the road games and use those guys. I think that was a really good thing that MLB did. But yeah, especially with the double headers coming up, I don't know. I feel like give it another week or so, maybe we'll start seeing some injuries. Hopefully not, though.
The only bad one we've seen so far is Mike Soroka, which Achilles injury, nothing to do with his arm, but yeah, unfortunate for him. At least it's a shortened season. He can come back healthy for next year. And he went to the same doctor, I guess, Zach Britton went to. He recovered. He said he recovered in 6 months. So he should be good to go next month. Mike Trout, he came back after being a dad, and he's on another level.
Was it 12 homers? Yeah, it's unreal with the dad strength that he has now.
Like they always talk about that, like when guys have kids and they come back and they just play amazing. Mike Trout has just been unbelievable. I think he hit a home run today. He has 8 home runs. I don't know if MLB.com's updated already, but he is absolutely destroying the ball. Been fun to see, especially with that slow start. A lot of guys got slow starts, but most of them are coming around. We've seen Christian Yelich pick it up a little bit. Nolan Arenado, he's playing well.
Bellinger was off to a little bit of a slow start as well. I think those were 2 MVP candidates last year. Obviously, Yelich, or did Yelich win it last year after he broke his knee?
No, that was Bellinger.
It ended up going to Bellinger, right?
Bellinger.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see those guys. And then there's like guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. Who's killing the ball right now. I mean
that guy,
he's
gonna be the face of the franchise.
Oh yeah, that whole Padres team is actually, when you look at them, I don't want to say 1 through 9, but there's definitely some sluggers on that team, and he's leading that team right now. I don't want to say he's a surprise to me. I just didn't expect him to be off to this hot of a start. Like you see Trout, you see Aaron Judge, even like Castellanos, who's up there in home runs. He's had a couple good seasons in a row. But Fernando Tatis, the type of player he is, being able to slug the ball, and he's even pretty good on defense too. He's definitely one of the top surprises for me. Just looking at a small list right now. So,
and then the guy that like some people are talking about, but not enough people are, Charlie Blackman. He had a 500 average going into today. I think he went 0 for 3 or maybe 1 for 4. That dropped down to 472, which is still pretty good. But yeah, playing in Colorado, which isn't the reason, but Colorado does help out. I did see a stat, though, that his last, 6 games, which were on the road, or not even, maybe it's just his road stats, he's batting, above 500. That guy is just mashing baseballs, and we have a legitimate chance to see someone this year hit above 400 for the season. Some people are going to maybe put an asterisk on it because it's a shortened season. It's only a 60-game stretch, but it will be cool to see someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand baseball Twitter going after Yelich of his slow start, calling him out. It was we went 4 months of no baseball, no live ABs really. It was you expected guys to have slow starts.
Yeah.
And just like you expected guys to probably hit 500 after a week. But yeah, Charlie Blackman was that I saw yesterday. Yesterday before his game, he was going in 484 with 12 RBIs and stuff. I was like, Jesus, he's doing that good, and no one was really talking about it.
I think it's just the Colorado. No one's talking about Colorado either. We were talking
no.
about surprise teams. Colorado's 12-6. They're killing
Nolan Arenado
really
started
well.
to pick it up. Yeah.
The whole NL West is playing well. Charlie Blackman, he's always raked. Donovan Solano for the Giants is hitting 458 right now. Only played in 16 games. But we'll see if this carries. Halfway through the season, we're a couple weeks away from that. Trade deadlines in a few weeks. We'll see if there's going to be any trades of that sort. I think Ildemaro Vargas got traded. Could be wrong.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the trade deadline because, people are saying we should put an asterisk over the champion of this year and whatnot, but I don't think we should. And then seeing teams try and push to get that shortened season World Series is going to be pretty interesting to see who's going to take that chance with a guy on his last year of his contract or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since there are more teams able to make the playoffs, do you take that risk or not? We'll just have to wait and find out. I personally don't think there should be an asterisk on the team that wins the World Series. Maybe on the Charlie Blackman above 400. I'm not going to. It's a cool feature, but the World Series, everyone played under the same circumstances. We know the season, it's only a third around a third of a full season. But it'll come down to the playoffs. A lot more teams, like some of the teams that maybe had a bad start to the year that sneak into the playoffs, maybe they turned it around and they would have made it. Like the Nationals last year, we saw they were terrible to start off the year. Then they ended up making the playoffs. They ended up winning the World Series. I don't think that there should be like an asterisk on the World Series winner, at least for this year.
I just think it's the team usually that is in the wild card games are the teams that get hot right away for playoffs.
Yeah.
For a lot of the times, it's like you just have that momentum going into the series. The team was resting for a bit, kind of a little shaky, who knows, but it's just all about gaining that momentum at the right time late in the season.
Yeah, you make a
Just
good
make
point.
a run.
I agree. And I think by adding playoff teams as well makes it more difficult of a route to the World Series. Like you're adding more teams to make it more fair in a 60-game season. So I don't see the need to put an asterisk next to anything. I mean, I personally think that, I mean, you're adding more to the playoffs, you're making it more difficult. And I know 60 games does not tell the story, especially when it comes to guys off to a slow start like Christian Yelich and other guys, because everybody's so accustomed to a 162 game season. So they wouldn't say anything if it's the beginning of the real season because it's a slow start. You have months where guys they just dominate baseball. But overall, when it comes to the teams winning and whatnot, I would tip my hat to a team that pulls it off, especially if it's an underdog team. Because once you're 60 games in, you kind of, you're rocking and rolling at that point. Obviously MLB has 162 games. It's a very long sport. But I think it's safe to say that after 60 games and then an extended playoffs, or an additional team in the playoffs, that it's fair game at that point.
Yeah, I think it's just you got what was I gonna say? I think the asterisk you maybe put over individual stats like team stats, player stats, because it shouldn't compare 60 games to 162. But yeah, the World Series, no, everyone's in the same boat. No one hopefully is cheating, nothing like that. So everyone's doing the same thing to try and win the same trophy. So I don't think it matters if it's 60, 162, 80 games, anything like that. It's like if everyone's in the same boat to try and win, I don't think you compare them to other years. Only individual stats.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Other baseball news this week, we saw the Indians. They had Mike Clevinger and Zach Plesac. They had to drive back to Cleveland because they went out and they broke protocol. They missed their start. I know Mike Clevinger was supposed to pitch yesterday. He did not, which led to a Cubs victory. Thanks for that. Zach Plesac, I don't know when he was scheduled to pitch next. I think he pitched over the weekend against the Sox. But yeah, those guys broke protocol. They're quarantining now. For the guys in like South, or I guess at the alternate camps, I assume you guys have to follow like similar protocols just to prevent things from spreading.
Yeah, I mean, they don't say there's no like quarantine, there's no don't do this. Like they can't force us. Well, they're not forcing us to stay in right now. They just want us to be smart where we go to get food. Basically, just don't go out and have a drink just to have a drink kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like stay away from people. If you got to go out to get groceries or food, that's fine. But it's just like try and distance yourself from people. One positive test or false positive can lead to you not leaving your room for 10 days.
So they are regularly testing you guys then?
Yeah, we get tested every other day.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
How many times have you had to do the nasal one?
Oh no, we don't do that one. Luckily, no, we do. They give us a little tube. We spit into it. Like you can't eat or drink anything 30 minutes before because it can mess up the test. So it's just you use the thermometer to get your temperature before heading to the field, and then you send that in. You go to the field, do the same thing, you check in, and then you do the spit test. And then the spit test, it like mixes with a chemical, and then you find out the next day if you're good or not.
That's a game changer. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah,
I
it's nice. I'm pretty sure the player association was like, yeah, no, we don't want to get stabbed in the brain every other day.
I
Yeah.
went to a walk-in to a CVS. I had to stab myself. I had to like
Mhm.
administer that to myself. And she kept saying, "You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right." So I kept sneezing and sneezing. She's like, "All right, that's good enough. It's all over that." I was like, "All right, cool."
Yeah,
I'd much rather it spit.
yeah, I've seen those tests. And I'm like, I just had to ask because they don't seem fun. Everyone I've heard, they're just like, it's terrible.
Like
But
picking
that
out
makes
my
sense.
brain with
bet.
thoughts.
Yeah, it just make your eyes watery, all that.
Well, that's good.
At least there's safety precautions for you guys, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're big. You can't go into uh the facility without doing your pre-screen or your screen, and then once you're in the facility, mask on at all times. Like players, you have to wear it at all times, but on the field you don't. But the staff and workers, mask on no matter what, even if you're outside all the time. They're like tier 2, tier 3 guys, but tier 1 is the players. We get tested first. We don't have to wear the mask if it like if there's conflict with breathing kind of thing and performance is what they say, like
Hmm.
to those terms. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. Cubs are the only team this year that they have not had a positive test. It's good. There were like positive tests with other teams when this first started. They got quarantined, got approved, whatever. Yeah, the Cubs, they didn't get a positive test when they first started this, and they still haven't. So shout out to everyone in the Cubs organization for doing that. You want to talk about
Oh yeah,
basketball
we're
now?
doing it right.
Is it
Yeah, we
time?
can definitely transition over to the National Bubble Association. That I've been thoroughly entertained, and I know there's a few different topics we want to touch on. First thing I want to do is apologize about my FanDuel scoring. It hasn't been too hot. You guys didn't see when I didn't post, I actually scored pretty high. You guys won't believe me, but I did. Um,
Weird.
it's weird how that works, right? But yeah, I mean, I think we should definitely jump straight to it. Dame time, Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard, obviously a few games ago was clowned, joked, laughed at, whatever you want to call it, by the Clippers bench. It was Pat Beverly and I think Paul George had something to say. But long story short, Dame Dollar had a chance to tie the game, or actually to take the lead at the free throw line. He missed the first one, had a chance to tie the game. This is all at the end of the fourth quarter. Missed the second free throw. They go on to lose the game. They laugh at him. They're going back and forth on social media. And Dame had to remind them, hey, I sent home both of you guys 2 separate years. Don't forget. And since that point has gone off, like we have never seen him. I mean, we've seen him go off before. He's been hands down one of the best players consistently for a while. But the numbers that he's been putting up, I think he just put up like 61 points in his last game. And now they're battling for that 8th seed, Memphis, the Trailblazers, and then you have the Suns right there and the Spurs. So, which I'm not surprised. Popovich always finds a way to finesse his way into the playoffs with little to no all-stars on their team. But what's your guys' reaction right now to Dame Dollar, to Damian Lillard, and his gameplay?
Healy, you want to take it or you want me?
You can start.
I mean, just put some bleeping respect on that guy's name, you know?
That's it.
And he's one of those guys that just don't piss him off. He's one of those Mamba mentality RIP guys that it's just you piss him off and he'll put up 50 on you, and it just doesn't matter who you are, kind of thing. He's entertaining to watch. He's one of the few guys that can just snap and respond like this, like he has so far to it. And had to remind him, yeah, it's like I sent you guys home. You got to switch teams to you don't respect the grind kind of thing. You guys are bombs, all that. I love the energy. Love the energy out of him because he backs it up on the court.
I think there was a quote I saw on Instagram because they were comparing, or they were talking about him and Kobe. They brought up when Kobe was asked, like, how are you feeling when they're up 2-0 in the finals? He's like, it's not finished yet. And I don't know the exact question to Dame, but he had like a similar answer. He's like, work's not finished. Got to keep it going.
Yeah, he was like, it's all I want. All I want is that win. They brought us here, gave us a chance. It's like, we're going to take it.
Yeah, him and Devin Booker's been going off recently.
Yeah.
7-0
Where are the
for the
Suns?
Suns.
7-0, yeah.
Yeah, 7-0. Devin Booker the other day, I think it was yesterday actually. He had to force up a shot from like half court and he just drained it.
Drilled it. Oh yeah.
The
I think,
Suns.
yeah, that logo, they call it, what do they call it? It's like in Chicago out here, we call Levine logo Levine because he throws up the deep three. Obviously, Lillard does it, did it last year in the playoffs to eliminate a team. Devin Booker has been pretty damn clutch. We saw him hit a game winner 2 games ago. But that he's my other most surprising. That whole team is 7-0. So there's one more game. There's gonna be the play-in for the 8th seed. He's 22 years old, I think, 22 or 23.
I think he's
So
23.
yeah, so even then, that's super young to play the way he is. One of my favorite to watch. I didn't expect the Suns to actually really have a chance, and I don't think when we did our predictions, I even considered them. So I did say the Trailblazers because, well, the Trailblazers are a fun team, and the Pelicans, who rest in peace to that team. But yeah, Devin Booker has been playing out of his mind as well. So to me, it's 1-2. What are they going to do? Like these bubble MVPs. So it can go either way, considering that the Suns are undefeated and they really worked their asses off for this 8th seed. So I can see why Devin Booker would get this quote unquote bubble award. But Dame Lillard as well. I mean, he's playing out of his mind.
How do they do?
Yeah.
How are they going to do the 9 seed tie if like the 9 seed and 10 seed tie? They're tiebreakers.
Wild card, maybe. 1 game playoff.
I wonder how
there's some tiebreaker with it.
I wonder if they're in the same division, maybe they might look at division. That's one thing I don't know, because I don't think anybody expected it to be down, especially it's between 4 teams right now. So which I think Friday's the last day for that.
Yeah. Friday. I think Friday's the last couple of games. I was just asking. Tomorrow is the deciding factor of these 4 teams, though. So tomorrow you have Bucks against Grizzlies, which I thought, oh yes, I want to see Trailblazers versus Suns for the 8th seed. I want to see them play in that 3-game set, technically 2-game set, because I want to see Dame Lillard go up against Devin Booker. I want to see Devin Booker in a high-intensity game. But the Bucks, I thought they were going to win. Antetokounmpo suspended for tomorrow's game. So the Bucks, they're going to have to win without Giannis. Tough for them. Suns are going up against Dallas. Dallas is a tough team. Luke has been playing well. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know if they're going to rest guys. I think they have the 7th seed locked up. They aren't going to get any higher. We'll have to see on that. The Spurs are facing the Jazz, which that's going to be a tough matchup. And then Portland against Brooklyn, which Brooklyn, they don't have too strong of a team. Their bubble record has been they're 5-2. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, they've been playing well. They've been covering spreads for sure.
But against the Trailblazers, I would hope that they'd win. So It's looking like it could be a Phoenix-Brooklyn matchup, but who knows? The Antetokounmpo's suspension could prevent that.
Who are the
Yeah,
Bucks playing again?
The Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. Oh, I wonder how that line's gonna look.
I'm looking at it right now. They don't have anything. The only line they have out is for the Blazers and Nets. They're giving the Blazers 9-point spread, which is a very fair
Yeah, I
spread,
don't
guess.
know.
But the Nets, the thing with the Blazers, I can see them jumping out to a huge lead. And it's like the fourth quarter, it's garbage time. Bench players are in, 6
And then they
minutes
just
left,
don't cover.
and
At
they
the
just
very
don't cover
end.
by a point. By a point.
Yeah, I might have to take them like first half then,
Yeah.
or just throwing a live bet or something. I don't know.
Wait until like the second half.
Yeah, speaking of bubble MVPs, you got Booker up there. You got Lillard. You got I think you got throw in T.J. Warren too
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
TJ
from
Warren.
Pacers.
Whoa.
He was on fire until he played the Heat over the weekend.
Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
They had beef before.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler for sure.
I'm surprised they're doing these awards. Are these just like fun awards, or are they supposed to be viewed as seriously?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any incentives. I read it. Somebody, Sports Center, somebody posted it, and I think it's a joke. But I mean, if there's incentives for it, then sure. For these guys, maybe they get like an incentive. I don't know. But I mean, if I won an award just that says, "Hey, you won," like I wouldn't really care as a player or even as a fan. But but yeah, TJ Warren too, especially he's always been a solid, quiet player. But the games he had, I think even against the Lakers, he ended up putting like 40 points up or close to. Because that team was battling Philadelphia for the 5th seed. And Philadelphia, obviously, they just lost Ben Simmons because he had partial dislocation of his left knee, I believe. So that, they ended up taking the 5th seed, which looks like they probably are going to secure the 5th. Could end up jumping into the 4th seed because they're tied with Miami, who has the 4th seed right now, which makes a huge difference. I guess 4 and 5 doesn't really matter because they'll play each other in the playoffs. But that 5th and 6th makes a huge difference because 6 is going to face the 3rd seed. As the 5th seed, obviously you're just going to play the 4th seed, which is Miami. But I don't think anybody wants to see Boston right now in the playoffs because Jason Tatum's been heating up. Jaylen Brown's been heating up. They have David Tice who's been balling out pretty well. Boston, I'm curious to see how this East is going to turn out because I know Giannis is going to dominate. He's going to put up the numbers, but it also interests me as like for him being the MVP of the league, potential back-to-back, for him to get in trouble and suspended. He headbutted somebody I've never even heard of, which to me is like, you shouldn't even be doing that. Like, he had almost got into a fight in the game before that. So these guys are getting to his head because, I mean, at the end of the day, when someone's dominating, you're going to put in your 6th, 7th, 8th player. You're going to rough them up a little bit, or at least try to. Obviously, we saw that in the 90s with Jordan. But I think Giannis has definitely got to keep his composure, especially for the playoffs. This team cannot afford to lose him for any reason. With his player efficiency rating being as high as it is, and just being able to do whatever he wants on the court. I can see them losing to Memphis, and now Memphis is going to have a chance for this 8th seed, even though they don't have Jaren Jackson. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
It's like the superstar, the main guy on the team, just it's hard hindsight kind of thing, but you got to keep your composure in that because the team needs you, especially.
Yeah.
Big factor like that, like he is.
Yeah, especially him being the leader. I could see it being hard. I'm sure mentally it's like tough. Like you're in a hotel.
And you had that.
Every
that one guy, the one guy on the other team that's just, he's like, you know what, I wonder if I could get a technical out of him early in the game kind of thing. The Patrick Beverly type to just get under your skin all game.
I mean, it worked with the Cavs against the Golden State Warriors when the Cavs came back down from 1-3. Draymond Green got suspended for Game 6, I believe it was,
Yep.
because they were bickering back and forth with him. They got physical. They got under his skin, and he was kicking players in their nuts and their ball sack, which he shouldn't be doing. But it's because they were under his skin, and I mean, he was a vital asset to that team because of the how much he brings on the defensive side, and he can spread the ball a little bit, but that's what it comes down to. It's not going to affect their season. They're still going to be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, but I think for him, it's a huge learning lesson, and for the rest of the league too. I just feel bad because these guys can't get their aggression out. They can't go out. They can't have fun. They're in this bubble. So I can see aggression building up from that. But yeah, that was something I was surprised to see, that he just won up, and wasn't a crazy headbutt, but it was a headbutt nonetheless.
Especially like they had the number 1 seed locked up. It was easily locked up for them.
Yeah.
And they are 3-4 currently in the bubble. So I think the frustration with that being around 500 when they were 56-16 in the year, 30-5 at home, 26-11 on the road. I think them coming into the bubble, playing teams that they normally beat, and they're just like not beating them, getting to him. But I think he'll be fine for the playoffs. He'll take this suspension. Who knows? Maybe they would have rested him regardless. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs. It's still going to be weird. There's no home field advantage at all.
Yeah. Which it's weird for the Sixers, who didn't they have like one of the worst road records?
Yeah,
this year. They had a good record.
They were 31-3 at home and 11-26 on the road.
Yeah,
and they lost Ben Simmons.
3?
Yeah, 31-3 at home.
I didn't even know they're that good at home. Holy crap!
Randomly, really, really good in Philly, but it's like there's home teams and there's road teams technically in this bubble, but you're not home or away. Like you're just I feel like everybody's just an away team. Philly's been playing okay, but obviously after they lost Ben Simmons, which we don't even know when he's gonna return. It could be, I mean, it's a dislocated knee. I don't know the anatomy like that, like for a dislocated knee or dislocated shoulder, how long you're truly out for. But he's a major asset, and regardless of home or away, I don't see them really going too far.
Oh, not at all, especially without Simmons. Yeah, they were 11-26 on the road as well, which is completely terrible. 42-29 on the year. Ben Simmons is out. The Washington Wizards, they just took a nice vacay to the bubble. They've lost every single game so far. The Magic won the games that they needed to, and then they've lost every game since. They had Jonathan Isaac go out with a freak injury.
Yeah.
Unfortunate with that. Every other team, though, it seems like they've put up like around 500 records, or maybe just slightly above, slightly below. I'm excited for the playoffs, and we talked about this last week with how much enclosed places are. They're like gyms. Their perception of players are a little bit better because they don't have 40, 50 rows behind the basket of just empty space. They have like a wall or something, and they're in like they feel more enclosed, that they're able to shoot better. James Harden, I would say, is an example of that. He shot like 50% for 3 today. Last week, when we hung out, James Harden put up like 39 points, and he was like 60% from 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been killing it. I would watch out for James Harden. I think all shooters in general, you just got to watch out for. Everyone's shooting way better in the bubble than they would in like a normal stadium, especially because they don't have the pressure. They don't have the pressure of the fans on them.
Yeah, and we saw last year the Rockets. Was it Game 7? They shot like 2 of 27 against Golden State to close out.
A couple years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And they couldn't shoot the 3 ball at all. I don't know if we'll see that this year. That's definitely a team to watch out for. I guess my one question for Tyson is, I mean, knowing what we know, we pretty much have the playoffs locked down. Who's gonna be your pick for the finals?
I don't know. The Lakers haven't been playing that great. That was my pick. Bucks definitely haven't been playing up to their standards. So I think this whole situation kind of just, well, one kind of screwed those two teams because they were really hot going into the break.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Some sleeper teams, maybe like the Nuggets, Raptors are good. I'm thinking the Raptors can make a run even uh without Kawhi. Heat's looking pretty good. Clippers are 50-50, I think. I don't know. It just depends who they're matched up with in the series. But yeah, I think it's more open than what it was before season was shut down.
Especially like I said, when I was looking at the records, teams are around like 500 or just above.
Yep.
They have like 4 wins. They have like 3 wins, something around there. And yeah, the Lakers, like you've mentioned, and now with like Giannis and looking at how they've done, they're 3-4. They have not been as dominant. I think it's going to be super hard. At this point, it's not like who's the best team. I think you got to look at the matchups of every potential round and just play that out. Especially the West. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't have a clue in the West.
It could be
Oh,
almost any team
the
in the
West
West.
is it's a toss up,
Yeah,
honestly. It just
I do like.
depends what the final standings are, and you just got to go by matchups, and then
Mhm.
it resets basically.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because Denver's definitely looking pretty nice, especially Michael Porter out of nowhere is starting to ball out, like they expected him to do. So that's pretty nice to see him come around. So that adds to their depth. They have him at the power forward. They're like
Jokic, who's
flexing
slimmed
Jokic at
down.
center. Yeah. Oh man.
Jokic is good. Murray.
Yeah. Jamal Murray came back and he balled out a couple games ago.
I think
So
the 4 months in between helped a lot of guys that had the lingering discomforts and injuries to just let them rest those 2 months or so,
yeah.
and then be able to just be 100% now.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think with all
excited to
sports,
see a playoff LeBron. We all know LeBron turns up in the playoffs, and now that he has the rest, could be scary.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
I think LeBron's definitely. I'm still sticking with my picks. So earlier in a couple episodes ago, we had our predictions for the restart, and I had the Lakers and Bucks. Reconsidering the East maybe because Toronto has been playing excellent basketball. Kyle Lowry's been playing great in the bubble, but I'm still gonna stick with my picks. But as a LeBron fan, as a fan of that squad, I still think they might pull it off. They're gonna have to play, I feel like, a couple game sevens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the playoffs, which I think start in a few weeks, couple weeks. Could be
I
wrong.
was gonna say, how many games are left in the season? I
so
don't even know.
there's tomorrow's games, which there's 14 teams playing, and there are 14 out of the 22 are playing tomorrow, and a lot of them are on their final games. I think there's
Yeah.
gonna be one more set day after tomorrow.
Friday's the last day, and there's going to be 4 games in total, and that's going to wrap up the season, except for the play-in for the West for that 8th seed. So these last couple of games are important for obviously for seeding purposes, 4, 5, 6, but then the 8th seed as well. So yeah, and then I know that they implemented some rules to allow super close friends, maybe family. You can't have your tattoo artist in. They said specifically, and just some schmo. So we might get some fans in the stadium. I don't know where they're gonna be or how they're gonna do that. So that's interesting to hear too.
Yeah, they specifically said they're just like, you have had to have met them in person before. You've had to be friendly with them. Because we all know the Instagram models, they're gonna show up.
Yeah, no.
There was a Stephen A clip today. He was talking on First Take or whatever he's on, and he was like, they should let these people come so that they could do their thing. He's like, they should let them come and then they can go.
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, some athletes need that. They need that little get their mind off of off basketball and get away from their phone and social media and whatnot.
Yeah, especially when they're
Who
locked
knows?
in a hotel room. Yeah. I mean, it's not like, isn't Disney World open anyways? So just have them come through, put some plastic border up so you can't like physically touch the fan, and then you're good. Nobody can spit. Otherwise, Ron Artest is gonna rise up and go, I don't know, do Ron Artest thing. No, but
Yeah,
that's,
don't throw your beer at him.
don't throw your beer. So I mean, I think they can make it work. Maybe put in assigned seats, like do like a 6-foot distance or whatever they're doing now, and then just have fans come in different parts of the stadium and wear your mask and assume the risk. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, the NBA would be held liable, I would assume, if somebody does get sick. But I think they should allow a few fans in. Maybe one per player that's playing, which would end up being 24 guys, so 24 people in that whole stadium.
Yeah, they said that they're gonna get one ticket per game, so they are gonna have people come in, and especially with that small amount of people, they're gonna do the testing. They're gonna be able to make everyone follows standards, and it'll create some noise, because we know now there's artificial noise with like every sport. I think they were doing it with hockey as well. The Hawks win. Baseball, it's been interesting. I don't know how it feels as a player. Do they pump in crowd noise on the alternate site?
Yeah, they did the other day, and it kind of threw me off because once they'll turn it off for like the warm-up pitches. So when they turn that off and turn the music on, that little few seconds, I'm like, oh, that's right, there's no fans here. Because it's just background noise that you're just used to hearing random things.
Yeah.
And random fans just chattering.
So so it's not as awkward as it might seem.
No, I mean we're playing minor league baseball, especially it's kind of like a spring training atmosphere. There's just no eyewash stuff where they have us there just to have us there. Like we go in, do what we need to do to throw, get ready. If you don't have a sim game or a bullpen or anything, it's a pretty easy day, and then you're out of there in like 2 hours or so after shagging. But we're used to the quiet atmosphere of that with spring training, well, minor league spring training, at least in the backfield. So it's not too different.
Speaking of quiet atmosphere, golf always been a quiet place. There's no fans, I think, now, so like it's even quieter. They caught someone on the hot mic the other day. He like missed a 5-foot putt or whatever. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Live TV.
You hear a lot more stuff. There's no fans.
I think with NBA games, they've slightly delayed them so that they can cut that out a little bit. Baseball, though, they have not. You're able to hear everything with baseball. It's been great. I've been loving hearing some guys get frustrated and just hearing some swears here and there.
Oh, yeah. They're saying, it's like you could hear everything that the other dugout is saying. So it's like, especially with the whole social distancing and like benches clearing kind of thing, like you can hear everything that they're saying. So it's like you kind of have to like remember, oh yeah, we can't, they don't want us leaving the benches and whatnot, unless you're the Astros hitting coach telling him to come to the bench, then that's a little different.
He ran at him too and realized, oh shit.
Yeah,
I love the energy.
It's caused a couple of fights already this year because like the crowd hasn't been able to drown out that noise.
Oh yeah, you hear everything. The umpires hear everything. So you gotta like watch how loud you say something, or if you just don't give a fuck, you just say it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised there hasn't been more ejections this year. I know Willie got ejected tonight. I don't know exactly why. Maybe he like argued something. I've like heard some guys say some things, and I don't know if it's just because now I'm able to hear them that I'm like, wow, why didn't they get tossed, or why didn't the umpire have words for him? Like I've heard some things, and maybe normally the umpire just like lets it go unless it's like personally directed at him.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of being mic'd up. I think we should mic up more people in sports. I know the Cubs did it with the Marquee Network during spring training.
Mm-hmm.
You had Rizzo mic'd up one time, him and KB. Fans really liked that. Ian Happ was entertaining to listen to. Nico, all you hear is just him running and just heavy breathing. He doesn't really say much. He's a quiet guy, but yeah, you have these guys that are mic'd up, and it's making it more entertaining, and the fans get to know the player other than just like being a good athlete, the
Mm-hmm.
goofy side of him, and it helps promote these people's images. Or it could bring it down by them, I mean, using swear words or talking shit to the other team, that kind of stuff. But I think it'd be pretty entertaining, and then you just filter some of it in and out for content.
Yeah. That's why I've really enjoyed, like last year, I got to go to Arizona, interview players. I've really enjoyed making the videos this year. And it like finally clicked with me. I'm like, I run a podcast. Might as well get some of the guys I've played videos or I've done videos with on the podcast, just talk about other things. Just so people learn more about you. And I've done Jazz Chisholm before, talked to Josiah Gray. Some of these guys on the come up, people get to learn about you guys before you get to the big leagues, and people get to see you there.
Yeah, I think it helps. I know, like with Barstool, like starting nine, Jared Carabas, and oh, who's the other the former pitcher for the A's?
Dallas Braden.
Dallas Braden. Yeah, Dallas Braden. Like I think they do a good job of getting to know the personalities of the baseball players, let them talk about whatever they want to talk about, and just grow their image. I think
Mm-hmm.
it could be very very beneficial, especially for the younger guys, of people trying to get to know some of the younger prospects that aren't well known around baseball.
Yeah. Something else that's helping grow in the game. MLB The Show, they've introduced the minor leagues this year. I don't know how they got that done or like why they couldn't before, but they added the minor leagues in, and in the Diamond Dynasty mode, you're able to get like very good player cards of top prospects. I think that's been awesome because, like I said, or I was talking to you before, Tyson, about it, but I haven't told the people. Like last year, I got to go to the Future Stars game, watch the whole thing, didn't know anything about like anyone besides like Miguel Amaya, Luis Robert, Joe Adell, Gavin Lux, and like after playing the show this year, I know all the top guys. I know a bunch of prospects in their system, and I'm waiting for them to hit the majors now.
Hmm. Yeah, I think especially in the past, like everyone only knew like the top 100 prospects. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what MLB The Show 20 did well this year was they needed more content because there weren't games going on. There was no inside edge, anything like that. So like, let's do some future stars. Let's do this. Let's learn about different guys in the organization instead of just a number one prospect, the number two prospect.
Yeah,
And
that's
they've done a good job with that. Uh, especially, I mean, I think they got in contact with some developers that do like the roster updates like their own that you could download of real
mm-hmm.
people. So I think that's how they did it for this year for all the minor leaguers, that they just worked with different developers in it to
Gotcha.
help create those guys.
Yeah, because they had to create hundreds and hundreds of players to get in the game this year, and yeah, it's definitely cool for the average MLB fan because a lot of like people's favorite players, like now you can get a favorite player in the minors and watch them get grow through the system. There's some hardcore people that are like, I love the minors, I love following these prospects, but the average fan, you don't see the games, you don't know them until they get super close. That a lot of guys are like, or favorite players for people, pretty common. Like my favorite player right now, Chris Bryant. Why? Because he had the hype right before he got called up. Luis Robert is going to be like that. Tatis,
Yep.
Vlad. But like Nate Pearson, he could become one of my favorite players. I didn't really hear about him much before this year. I know he was at the Future Stars game last year, but like I know him from the show, and he was good. He's good in the show.
Yeah, I only knew about him because in living in Arizona for the off season, he was in the fall league, and I don't know who the Blue Jays were with. I think they were with Surprise Arizona, but yeah, it was like this dude's throwing 100 as a starter, and he's sitting like 98, and he's like 6'8", 400 pounds. It was just like it's a huge behemoth man tossing a baseball as hard as he can. It was just entertaining to watch.
Well, I think we've covered about everything today. There was no NFL news from what I know.
No NFL, nothing yet. Other than maybe a fantasy season. I'm a horrible commissioner. I haven't extended the invites yet. I usually have this done about a month ago, but it's kind of I don't know, when does football start? First week is September 9th.
It's a month. It was a month from
this
like a
past
couple
weekend.
days ago. Yeah.
I mean, I still believe in having a NFL draft like the third week of preseason.
Yeah, third to fourth week. It's usually when I plan it. I'm surprised. I've been a commissioner for one league for this is the 11th season. I'm surprised nobody has said anything yet.
I think
Which it might,
I just think they don't realize how close football is.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the end of this year is kind of sneaking up fast. The summer went by really fast.
Yeah, it really did. Surprisingly, considering being locked in and well, our summer kind of opened up, at least around here in Chicago. I know beginning of summer things started to open up a little bit, which is kind of cool, but you still got to be like weary. But yeah, summer flew by. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm ready. This is the best time of year though coming up. I mean, we have baseball, football,
Basketball playoffs.
basketball playoffs. What?
Hockey playoffs is going
Hockey
on.
playoffs. Yeah. So, okay. In the NHL, I know you said you were from California, but who's your favorite team in the NHL?
I don't really have one. I didn't really start watching hockey. Well, still really don't. But my
Yeah.
freshman year of college, one of my teammates, he was a big Coyotes fan, Arizona Coyotes fan.
Okay.
And we would play like my freshman year of college. We went from there was like eight of us freshmen, and we went from playing MLB The Show together, Black Ops Zombies, Gears of War. We would play Madden tournaments, hockey, like NHL tournaments, FIFA. So with the tournaments, you would just choose your one team, and we do a raffle who gets to choose first, and that's the team you're always going to be, kind of thing. And you just play like seasons like that. And so hockey, it was like I chose the Sharks just because it was a California team. I didn't really like the Kings. Ducks were fans were not my favorite in Southern California, so I was like, you know what, I'll just go Sharks. But now that Seattle Krakens are going to be a team, I mean, I think I'm gonna jump on it now.
Jump
Like
on
brand
board.
new
Yeah.
team, can't be a bandwagon fan. It's a brand
Yep.
new team, family in Portland. If I go up there, I'm gonna try and catch a Seattle game. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Hopefully that they have that hot start like Vegas did. What season's
Yeah.
Vegas in? Second
Second or third, I
I
think.
don't know. They've been hot ever since the beginning though.
Yep.
I think
They
last year
almost
was their
won it their
first.
first year. Yeah, they almost won it their first year.
Yeah, because last year wasn't Washington. Last year, I
Was it?
think the Blues. Did the Blues win last year?
Yeah, I think it was the Blues.
Okay.
Because yeah, I think so. I just remember when Alex Lang was with us in Chicago with our organization, now he's with the Tigers. He was saying one of his buddies at LSU put money down at the very beginning of the season on Vegas to win the Stanley
Ooh.
Cup.
Wow.
So when they're in it, he said he was the most nervous he's ever been going into like one of their games because it was like $100 or like $50 to win like 50 grand or something. It was some unreal like that, like their odds for their first year. And so he was like just a college kid that might win a couple thousand, tens of thousands of dollars on it.
Unfortunately,
But
they
they didn't
lost
win.
4-1. Yeah, last year 4-3 lose. They had an interim head coach. But good team to hop on. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I only watch when the playoffs happen.
Yep. I can speak for probably a lot of Chicago fans, just from social media. I mean, I knew that they snuck in because of the 2014 playoff.
Mhm.
They took the first round. They lost game one already in the second round. But I can almost promise you, Hawks fans are the quietest year round until the playoffs start.
Mhm.
You have your Cubs fans, you have your Sox fans, which some of us Sox fans can be annoying. And I mean, even like Bears fans, we'll still see people posting about the Bears. But when it comes to the Blackhawks, I don't see any posts until the postseason, which is fine. You know what? To each their own. Chicago, they love what they love. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I mean, they have great young talent. They're exciting to watch, especially in the playoffs. Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane,
3
some others.
championships.
Yeah. It was those are fun times. I actually used to live where Coach Quenville used to live down the street. Was through an ex-girlfriend at the time, but it was right down the street, and every time they won, his house would be just the whole house, and all the trees would be teepeed. I didn't do it. I'm not self-incriminating myself. But yeah, I mean, you would drive down, you see toilet paper down, like it was almost a whole block. So that was always kind of fun to see. But yeah, Chicago fans, I can tell you probably are the wildest when it comes to teams winning. I was in Wrigleyville when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. Healy, were you with me then?
No.
I don't think you were.
No,
I don't even think, were you 21 in 2016?
I was not. I was 20.
Okay, so maybe that's why you weren't with us. But we went to some bars, and then there was the rain delay, and we're like, let's all sprint to Wrigley. So we did. And then so we were in the heart of it when they won, and all I remember is just fireworks going off in front of people, and I was just like, okay, I need to get out of here, man. I was like, the Chicago fans are wild.
Especially
Oh yeah, they went crazy for that. I remember in our spring training facility, the mural of outside of Wrigley, when they won it, all the fans, everyone in their hands up. There's like one random guy with a sign that said "It happened" because we had the whole thing of "When it happens" kind of thing.
Yeah.
He had a sign. I thought that was one of the sickest ones. Now I think they changed the mural to like, all right, that was in the past. Now we're moving forward, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like we did what we need to do. The curse is over. The drought's over.
Yep.
Now we're getting real deal.
I think I
Yeah.
have a video on my YouTube where I recorded myself for like the final inning of the game.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those videos. This isn't World Series related, but Healy, you have a pretty cool video. Was it the David Bodie first at bat walk-off grand slam? Or is that McLean?
Well, I have video from there. I was sitting in 2 years to the day. David Bodie walk-off
Mm-hmm.
grand slam. You got to see
Santa
Cole.
Maria.
Yeah. You got to see Cole Hamels duel against Max Scherzer Sunday Night Baseball. Scherzer had 11 strikeouts. Cole Hamels had 9. I can't remember if it was Cole Hamels' first home start. May have been. I don't know. But amazing game. Great pitching performance. And the Cubs allowed a couple runs. And then we all know what happened in the 9th inning. I was sitting in right center, too, underneath the scoreboard. Day I'll never forget.
Yeah, that was the craziest video. I saw the highlight the next day. Saw your video, we have a buddy, his name's McLean. We saw his video as well. And I've never seen something like that.
Yeah, the Cubs do a good job, especially with all the videos and highlights over the last few years that we have with the young guys, the young position player core that we have. So they'll like play videos at spring training to like inspire kind of the younger guys. So like this could be you in 3 years because Ian Happ was here 2 years ago kind of
Yeah.
thing. Almora was here 3 years, like, just going off the list. And every time it kind of got not annoying, but like I was drafted in 16, so every time we would talk about something, it was about the World Series win, and it never like really hit me like how important that was to Chicago and how crazy that was. Because I mean, I grew up a Giants fan. We won 3 in 5 years, so I was like, okay, big whoop. But
Yeah.
it was the amount of times that I've seen David Ross's home run, amount of times I've seen that last play of Chris Bryant almost slipping and throwing the ball away,
Yeah.
the home run off of Chapman, and me forgetting that Chapman was even with us. It was we watched that so much that I just got used to that. Where I was like, okay, cool. But every single time I hear the call of David Bodie's grand slam walk off home run, his intensity rounding the bases, the team, I was like, I get chills every time.
Matt
It
Vasgersian.
was a crazy, crazy call, crazy moment. The pimp job, the subtle pimp job, the Santa Maria, all that stuff. I was just like, this is unreal highlight of someone's career. It doesn't matter what he does. It was like that can probably be the number one highlight for
Oh
a
yeah.
while.
The Cubs, they have a great YouTube channel. They actually have a video going over that where they talk to guys individually. They talk to like Jason Hayward, Wilson Contreras might be in there. Guys that reached base in the 9th inning. And then they pick David Bodie's brain, and the awesome video with that. They also have one where they talk about the decision where they took out Kyle Hendricks in the World Series game to go to John Lester, and they talked to David Ross about that.
Yeah, that was a
Very
good
cool
interview
stuff.
with David Ross, like going off of the at bat with Lindor of what they were trying to do, bounce the off speed, it hits him in the face mask, he stumbles, 2 runs score. He jokes about that a lot. He's like, yeah, once I realized I let 2 guys score while catching on a pass ball, I thought it was time to hang it up. And then he hits the home run. The home run in his last at bat, it was just like, holy shit, there's no way.
It's like some straight out of a movie.
I mean, for us, that's like the Jeter ending, the walk off to last game in Yankee Stadium. It was just like you couldn't write it better.
Especially for the Cubs, 108 years. It had to be dramatic. They had to come back 3-1 lead.
Talking to fans where I'm from, I remember in right after the draft or the first off season, going into my first spring training, I'm back home. I just got done working out. I have like a Cubs shirt on. I'm at Five Guys, and there's like this group of like old timers, and one's wearing like Cubs socks and a Cubs hat. And he kind of looks at me, sees a young kid with a Cubs shirt. He's like, "Huh? How long have you been a fan of the Cubs?" I was like, June 11th of like a few months ago." He's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." I was like, "Okay, guy. Like, I'm sorry.
No
Like, good
idea.
for you. Good for you. You've been a lifelong fan. I'm so happy for you. Good for you."
Yeah, we have that in Chicago. That's It's always a competition on who's the bigger fan. That's the one thing I've always said with like Blackhawks fans. It's always a competition. Sox fans, we don't win often, so we're kind of on the quiet
yeah,
side.
what was it? 05 for you guys?
Yeah.
05, 06, I cried because my dad was on the phone. He was trying to get a World Series ticket. He got it through to somebody and the call dropped, so he couldn't get tickets. I cried like a big baby.
Oh.
I was living in Rockford, so I don't know if you know like what Rockford is, but Rockford or in Chicago is like almost the middle of, there's not a whole lot going on. And I've always grown up, I grew up in the city and in the suburbs like of Downers Grove and that area, kind of, that's how I met Healy. But, we lived there for a year, and, I'm 28 now. My birthday was just the other day, but I was young at the time, and I was like, man, this would be kind of cool to get out and do something. Like, there's not a whole lot going here. And yeah, 05, 06, that was our year, man. And it was quickly forgotten, but like there's Sox fans still who will argue. They're like, well, that was the better Chicago team out of the two. And I'm like, guys, no. I'm like, stop.
No.
No, we're not going to go there.
They were good. They weren't even the best team that year. Like, they just were hot. They were just hot. And that's all that matters, is if you're a hot team.
Well, yeah, they talk about the 15-1 record in the or not 15-1, whatever. They lost one time in the playoffs, and that was
In the
it.
playoffs, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they were just hot. But that's kind of like with artists too, like an up and coming music artist. It was like everyone wants to be like, "Oh, have you heard this?" And it's like their very first mixtape from when they're like 18. It was like, "No, I
Mhm.
haven't heard that. I'm sorry, I'm not the biggest fan."
Yeah, they look at
But
you that look, they're like, "Oh." And then there's some people who are like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you on right now, like listen to it." Those are the cool
mhm,
people.
those are
Yeah.
the cool ones where it's like, "Oh, you gotta check this out."
Yeah.
But yeah, you missing out on the World Series. I mean, my experience, like a story that I have that isn't that big, but my mom, we got family in Sacramento area, and so I can't remember the year it was, maybe like 2012 or 13. Me, my brother, and my mom were driving up to Sacramento to see her family, and we're like, we're gonna go to a Giants game. They're playing the Astros before the Astros were good, and they were still like the NL team, I think. Like 6, 7 hours of driving. My mom's like, "You guys want night game? It's only like an hour detour kind of thing." And I'm just like, "I'm exhausted. I'll watch the game at grandma's. We'll go to the game tomorrow." That game that we did not go to was Matt Cain's perfect game.
Oh
Mm.
no.
And then
Oh
I had to
no.
sit there and watch it on the couch. And my mom walks up as I sees the score, sees that it's a perfect game. She's like, "Oh, we could have been there."
Hmm.
Just had
Oh.
just a little dagger in the back of, "Yeah, mom,
Oh
I
man.
know." So then we go to the game the next day. Barry Zito's pitching, gives up a grand slam in like the second inning, and Astros win 11-2. And I was just like, I hate myself.
Oh
Oh,
man.
Mike.
Yeah. So my mom, we missed the perfect game, but she was at Tim Lincecum's no hitter in San Diego when he had like the 5 walks or whatever it was. But so I mean, her and my brother got to see that. I was in college at the time and couldn't go, and so I kind of it was fun to watch. But man, I wish I would have been there in person for one of those.
It's okay. There's 3 World Series along that span. It's okay.
Yeah, I got to talk a lot of crap to my Angels fans or Angels friends.
Oh man.
That was a good stretch. That was a
Oh
very good
yeah,
stretch.
it was just unreal. It was they were the team where it was just like if they didn't make playoffs, obviously they weren't going to win it. But if they were in it, it was just like, yeah, I'm putting
It
my
was
money
rad.
on the Giants.
Yep.
It
Hmm.
was like, oh, wild card, yeah, give us another game to win and more momentum. We love it.
Yeah, right now for them, not looking so hot. They're in a rebuild position, but they'll get back to the glory days eventually.
Oh yeah, every team can't be good for forever.
Oh.
They can't all be like the Spurs for 20 years, stuff like that.
Unless you're the Yankees as well. They've missed the playoffs, but they haven't finished below 500 since like below 2000 or something.
Yeah, like 2000, like 1994 or something like that.
Unbelievable. But I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Standing Room Only podcast. Thanks to everyone that listened to this episode. You could follow Tyson on Twitter and Instagram, Tyson_Miller07 for Twitter, and then Tyson_Miller for 15 on Instagram. Follow my personal page, The Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow Goose.
Yes, I am iGoose. That's with 4 O's. As always, do not ask why. But if you do ask why, maybe one day I can have a sit down with everybody and discuss why. But yeah, go ahead, follow us. Hit that like button. Hit that download button. That is how we get our views. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. So if you like what you hear and you want to put the face with the voice, follow us on YouTube. The Standing Room Only podcast, everybody.
We'll see you guys next week.